Hello one and all, Spastic here with a brand new coach interview for Season 6 of the GBA. Today, I'm joined by one of the longest running veteran coaches of the GBA, coach of the New Orleans Pelippers, none other than Pokemon! How do you do, John?
I'm doing pretty great. How are you, good sir?
I'm hanging in there, doing alright. Very glad you could join us today.
Of course, it's my pleasure. I'm excited to hear these questions. I actually haven't watched any of the interviews because I don't want to know what's going on. I want to be surprised. I want to give you guys my honest answers right away.
Alright, well there will be plenty of surprise because inquiring minds want to know. So we'll jump straight into these questions and give the fans what they want. So this first round of questions is going to be about you, getting to know you. So what was your first experience in Pokemon ever?
Wow, okay, so my first experience in Pokemon was Pokemon Yellow. My dad got it for me when I was 3 or 4, and he'd actually put his hands over mine and play through the game with me. So before I really knew what was happening, he'd play through the game with me. So it's been a game I played for a very long time now.
But how long have you been playing competitively?
Competitive. Well, it was sophomore year of high school. I just heard about 5th gen, or at least the starters had been revealed, and I decided to start playing again. And the one friend I knew at school who still played Pokemon started playing a little bit, and we found out about the YouTube channels with competitive Pokemon, and we had no idea what was going on. We thought it was really cool, and after watching a few of the Pokemosh Pit Wi-Fi battles, we decided to make our own teams and battle each other. I won the first battle, so, I started off pretty good. Then I lost a lot because I was really bad, and we found Pokemon online, and that was brutal. But I started off on a good note. That's always nice.
It's always best to start off on a high note and then just go from there. Ride the wave of success. And then here we are today in the GBA.
Yeah.
So it's taken you far. That first win was crucial. Here we are today.
I like it. I know there was some 3rd gen Wi-Fi battling, but I know it got really popular from 4th gen on, so I'm happy I've been around to see everything from then to now, and it's pretty awesome being a part of the GBA.
Most definitely. I can definitely attest to that as well. So, do you play in any tiers or any other formats aside from draft?
That's an interesting question because I don't have as much time as I used to, and back in the day, 4th gen it was always OU, 5th gen it was always UU and NU. Now we've made it to 6th gen. I've kind of played everything. In the very beginning it was OU, then I tried UU, and I kind of just fell all the way down to NU and PU. So right now I'd probably say the tiers I play most outside of the draft league format would be PU, but I like to play all the different tiers, but I don't really ladder anymore. Just most of my competitive drive goes towards the GBA or whatever draft league I'm participating. This is the most important thing when it comes to competitive, and maybe when the next games come out I'll try the tiers again to be a little bit more serious, but in my opinion the draft format is the best format out there for competitive battling, so that's what I care most about.
Yeah, definitely got some Sun and Moon hype to see what they bring to the competitive game as well. Hopefully we'll see them maybe we'll see them in Season 7?
Oh, I hope so. I hope more than anything we have a hype. If you guys did not see the first season, well, let's just say Malamar was drafted. And there were a few Mons that were drafted that people did not realize might not be the best yet.
It's all in the experimental phase. Hey, we have Volcanion this season.
Exactly, and I'm so happy it was drafted, and I really hope that Season 7, nobody knows anything, and people are drafting things, and it's just going to be a mess, but it's going to be exciting.
So when it comes to a draft, do you have a specific gameplay? Do you look at utility, do you draft for power, or do you try and set up a defensive core? What's your plan?
That's an interesting question. It's kind of evolved over the seasons. Season 4, I felt like I had got it down to a science, and everyone said the team I drafted was the best team, but I quickly realized that going after what is, I guess, the standard really good team for the format isn't always the best, as you need to draft for your strength. So what I've decided to do recently, and what I will hopefully be doing for the draft, is drafting Pokemon that I'm good with. I like bulky offense, that's one of the bigger things, but I have a checklist, but I'd say the biggest thing is bulky offense. I want every single one of my Mons, all 11 of them, to be able to take hits, but also be offensively threatening. I don't want there to be any setup fodder. I've seen how that has worked in the past for other people, and it can be really, really terrible. So, yeah, I just say the general thing I could go off of is bulky offense.
Yes. So if there was one Pokemon that you could draft over and over again because you just can't live without it, which one would it be? If there exists such a Pokemon. Reuniclus? Oh
yeah,
my goodness, that fat blobby sucker.
Oh yeah. That thing, well, you can do so many different things about it, and there's never going to be a game where you bring it and it's not going to be useful. There's a variety of good abilities. Psychic types in the format are fantastic, and the fact that it has really good offense along with really good defense, and there's just so many things with it. The Trick Room too, beautiful. I could go on. There's so many different sets I ran last season, and it was always good.
Yeah, there is something to be said for Pokemon that can be run a multitude of different ways, especially in the draft team format, because when you're building a team and your opponent's trying to build for it, you never know what Reuniclus is going to bring to the field.
Oh god, no. Yeah, and you got to be ready for Trick Room, you got to be ready for bulky, everything in between.
You got to be ready for a Drain Punch out of nowhere.
I almost brought Drain Punch last season, I'm going to be honest.
So now we're going to get into some more GBA-centered questions. What made you want to join the GBA?
Wow. Ever since I heard about it, I used to be a really big fan of Steve Magazine. I still am a big fan of Steve. I love his videos, but I'd always watch all of his stuff. And when I saw him come out with the announcement for the GBA, I watched it and I instantly fell in love. I thought and still think that it's the best idea everyone's ever come up with in the Pokemon community. It was incredible. It combined the two things I really loved, like fantasy football, football-ish stuff, along with Pokemon competitive. And I watched the whole first season. It was hard to be a Sawsbucks fan that first season, but I wanted I wanted nothing more than to be in the GBA the second season. I thought I was going to be in it. Turns out I wasn't, and in the first week I got a message from my buddy who said I was taking over someone's team, and honestly it was like a dream come true. It was probably the most exciting thing that's ever happened to me in YouTube, being told after I'd already been like, I'm not going to be in the GBA, it's over. But the first week I take over someone's team, and that was a magical season. I did pretty well for myself that season.
And now here you are in season 6 and still going strong.
Still love it.
So this season, is there a coach that you are most looking forward to playing against?
That's difficult. This season is just stock full of talent. There are so many fantastic battlers, and I've played almost everyone in the GBA at this point. I'm pretty sure I have. The person I want to play most, I don't know if there really is anyone I want to play most. But I guess if I had to say someone, I'd probably say my buddy George or Septel MC. He's without a doubt one of the best draft league players around, and I like to say that he's the best. Recently he was in a tournament from all the best battlers in draft league formats and won tournament. He had won the whole thing. I would have put all my money on him anyways. And I've known him for 4 or 5 years now, so we've kind of grown together when it comes to competitive battling, and now both of us are in the GBA. Both of us have been decently successful in our careers here, and it's always a pleasure to battle him. Last season it was fantastic. I might be able to battle him 3 times this season, so it's going to be really, really interesting to see what happens, at least the second time, because we're in the same division, what happens then. So I'd have to say the second battle. And unless one of us has an insane advantage, the second one might just be really sad for the other person. But hopefully, it'll just be really, really creative and awesome.
Kind of like that natural gift scissor to take out.
Yeah, and that was fantastic. That point when there's a scissor versus a mega scissor, one move wins the game for me, one move wins the game for him, and the guy that came up with natural gift Scizor won, and that's who deserves to win it. Hopefully I can come up with some natural gift set this time.
Some creativity is going to be happening in the New Orleans Pelippers. Stay tuned. So inversely, are there any coaches that you are absolutely dreading playing against? Or you hope
anyone who drafts Cresselia. You draft Cresselia, you're dead to me.
free cress.
Yeah, no, Season 4, and most people probably don't know it, but I was able to convince everyone in the league not to draft Crest because I hated it so much. I complained about it enough that no one drafted it, and I don't know why anyone would listen to that, but it worked, and I was really happy.
And then here comes Super Blah in Season 5, not caring about the rules, the unspoken rules.
I didn't have to battle him, so it was, I got past it. I moved on. I was okay.
Maybe we'll see the Moon Duck make its dreaded appearance in Season 6. Ugh. So, aside from Cresselia not showing up, what are you most excited for during Season 6?
I'm just excited for the GBA to be back. It's really... The draft is incredible. You get your 11 months that you're going to play with. A lot of the time it's, 11 months, maybe like 9, 10 months you've never used in the Draft League format. And this format's so much fun. And getting ready for every single battle, looking through all the move pools, the abilities, the stats, and just... it's really exciting at first, and it's cool to see how, who does well, who doesn't do as well. It's like an actual, competitive, I guess, sports league or esports league. And I can be a fan as well as being a competitor, and I love that. Just to see how everything unfolds and all the stats and everything about it. I'm just excited it's back. I think the easy answer is I am so excited the GBA is back.
Yeah, and I know the fans are excited to be back. I know us analysts are excited to be a part of it as well. And I can only imagine what it's like to be a coach in this level of competition, in this unique and diverse format. But yes, GBA, we're all glad it's back. So this season, realistically, where do you see yourself ending up? Do you see yourself making it to the playoffs? Or are you just going to get behind one coach and cheer them on all the way?
That's a really good question. Now, last season, it was the best competition we'd ever had, I thought, and I was terrified. I was like, oh my god, look at all these good coaches. There's no way I'm going to do as well as I have in the past. But
it's like, no, please, bye.
Exactly, and I ended up having the second best or the best record tied for, I don't really remember, but I know I had one of the better records. I made the playoffs for the third season in a row, and last season I didn't have a ton of faith in myself, but I played my game. I felt like I drafted a pretty good team, and I was able to make it to the playoffs. So my goal would be playoffs. I want to keep that streak going. I feel like that's a pretty decent streak to continue, and, we'll see what happens, but I'm setting it at least there. If I can get to that goal, then we'll start putting the goal a little bit higher, and hopefully I can make a return to the championship.
Well, hopefully we will see you in the playoffs this season. And who knows? We may be crowning a new champion this season. You never know, hey.
I like the sound of that.
Champion John. So now, this last round is just going to be a lightning round. No thinking, just straight answering. There's only going to be 2 choices, and you choose between the 2 of them. Just pick one.
Okay.
All right. So, cartridge or showdown?
Showdown.
Oras or XY?
XY.
Sweep or stall?
Sweep.
Hoenn or Sinnoh?
Sinnoh. Ooh.
Yeah. Live commentary or postcom?
Postcom.
Toxic or Will-O-Wisp?
Will-O-Wisp.
Volt switch or U-turn?
Both.
Why not?
I know.
Let's see. Competitive or defiant?
Defiant.
Acrobike or mock bike?
Mock bike.
Play competitive or play for fun?
Competitive.
Technical team or creative team?
Probably technical.
Trade or free agency?
Ooh, free agency.
And lastly, GG or rage quit?
GG every time.
Yes. No need to be salty about that. Alright. Well, that concludes this interview. John, thank you so much for your time.
Well, thank you for having me on. This was actually really cool. And, I'm happy you're aboard. This was a fantastic interview, and I can't wait to see the other ones.
Well, thank you. And we look forward to seeing you in action here in Season 6. Well, that is all the time we have for today. This was an interview with John. I'm Spastic, and that is it for today.